Thank you, Ray, and good morning and good evening to those of you on the in the press conference. The team playing against New Zealand on Saturday, there's only two changes in the starting lineup, and the first one is Lode Jager that comes in for Marvin Orrie. Obviously, Lode returned from his HRA. And then the second change is Kwagga Smith starting at 7 and Franco Mostert moving to the bench, and purely managing the workload of Franco Mostert. And then the bench is the same. The changes there's only two changes on the bench. Jasper, unfortunately, is only having his hearing tonight. According to the timeline, it should have happened yesterday. But for reasons for reasons under our not in our control, it could only happen tonight. So he wasn't up for selection. So the changes there is Elton Jantjies is coming in and Frans Steyn is coming in as player 22 and 23.
Thank you, Jacques, and just want to let obviously our media contingent know that the team will be sent out in full, obviously, as per our usual operation. Right, we go over now to our question section, and Jan de Koning, you had your hand up first. Over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Dwayne. Jacques, after Saturday, you said you wanted to have a good review and then maybe you'll have a better idea of what went wrong. What have you focused on this week, apart from the changes, which obviously is significant, but what have you focused on this week that could make a difference, that could give you a better opportunity of beating the All Blacks? I mean, we obviously know how important this game is, the 100th game between the two teams.
No, listen, we obviously not going to say too much what we changed in our plans. Obviously, we had a good look at how we played, and we were honest and brutally honest. And I think, I thought there were some things that were good. I thought our line-out mauling was good. I thought our scrums were good on the weekend. I thought we were good in the high ball. We will have a session tomorrow. We will probably touch on the defensive side of things. I think there was one or two errors that we made there. Know that there was one or two that we will fix and rectify going into this weekend's game. And then probably just revisiting what our soul is, what we do as South Africans and what we enjoy doing, and probably going back to that.
Thank you, Jacques. Craig Ray, over to you next. You next up.
Good morning, guys, or good evening over there. Jacques, there's the old saying that goes, teams must do 100 things 1% better. Do you feel like you maybe did it 100 things 1% worse last week? It was a lot of little errors. And what do you put that down to, having had the review?
Yeah, no, I think, there was, how can I say, the errors that we made was errors that we don't normally make. And sometimes, I suppose it happens like that, Sometimes you make mistakes, you miss a tackle. A guy who's a 95% tackle completion normally misses a tackle. But that's battles that you win and lose in games. And the key thing for us is just to stay focused. I mean, the new challenge for us is almost to get over the result that we had against Australia and focus on New Zealand. We know that we will have to be at our best against New Zealand, and we certainly are training, and the work that we put in the last 2 days were excellent. I think we are aligned in terms of a team and in terms of strategy that we want to do. We had a good prep up to now.
If I could just follow up with Dwayne, Rayon. Dwayne, just on that, do you feel? I remember once you guys lost to Ireland quite heavily, and the next week you beat England, and there was quite a big backlash. Does this feel similar in after disappointing yourselves, I'm sure, against Australia, and having such a big team like the All Blacks to have a backlash against?
Yeah, Craig, I can't really say. What happened in the past is only stands for the past. So you can only talk about the now. And I think, like Jacques said, we reviewed our game, and I think we played against Australia. New Zealand is a whole new game. It's a whole different team. They play a whole different style to what Australia does. So we have to prep differently, and obviously, we have to prep accordingly to the way they play and the way we want to play. So, obviously we've got our backs against the wall, and hopefully we can work hard as a team and, hopefully get the result we want and get back on track.
Thanks.
Thanks, Craig. Right, Hans Schenk.
Good evening, gents. Hope you're well. I have two questions, one for Jock and one for Dwayne, please. Jock, obviously a lot of people are going to be interested in the Kwagga selection, but you gave a very good explanation, during that first test against the British and Irish Lions. Is that pretty much the same for this game? And then for Dwayne, please, just the magnitude of this occasion. It's the 100th test. Bongi and Dion said that obviously everybody is up for the game, but one has to have a bit of a balance between creating too much hype about the occasion and not focusing on the fundamentals. Are you guys using the occasion as a driving force, or is it really just about approaching this as a normal game? Thank you very much.
Yeah, on Kwagga selection, like I said, yes, Sous have been a stalwart for us in this season. Since Peter Steff got injured, he was our played lock. Then Peter Steff got injured, and we moved him over to a blindside flanker, and he's produced 80-minute after 80-minute after 80-minute. And then if we take a lock off, he will move from blindside into the lock position. And this is purely just to give him a little bit of a break. He's trained every single training session, played every minute, and Kwagga brought nice energy when he came on the last weekend against Australia. And Kwagga is a versatile guy. He's a guy that we trust. He's been part of us now for a while, since 2019. Excited to see what Kwagga is going to bring, and then obviously we can bring Sous in at lock or blindside wherever we feel we need some injection.
I think from our side, I think we have to take it as another test match. We play New Zealand. Yes, whatever the bookies and the history tells you that we're playing the 100th test. For us, it's just we want to compete in this championship, and we obviously everyone wants to win this thing. So for us, it's prepping for New Zealand. We're playing New Zealand. And we're going to go and give it our best. Whatever the occasion is, that's for the people that write books about it. For us, it's to be a better team than we were last week and improve on what we did last week. And hopefully we do that this coming weekend.
Thank you. Right, we move on swiftly. Tinus van Staden.
How's it, Jelle? I've got one for Dwayne. Dwayne, against the Wallabies in both tests, actually, it looked like you guys sort of struggled with your exits. You would score points, and then immediately after the restart, you'd struggle to get back into their half. Is there a specific reason for that, or was it just a bit of inaccuracy in executing the plans?
Yeah, I think. If I think about it, last weekend, I can't really think too far back, but I think of last weekend, we received all our kickoffs. We made one mistake while Trevor knocking the ball on, but every other exit we got out of our 22, or not out of our half, but we either kicked it out or we kicked a contested ball, and most of the balls we won back. So. I don't really think that was an issue. We will still stick to our game plan and the way we want to play and the style we want to play, and keep pushing and keep working even harder to get the final result or the precise result that we want.
Thanks, Tinus and Dwayne. And next up is Gavin Rich.
How's it, Jacques? I just wanted to ask if when you said just now that you need to sort of get your soul back, or you felt that you'd sort of moved away from your soul, is that sort of maybe an acknowledgement that maybe you played almost like too much rugby last week? It felt as if you'd moved a little bit away from your template.
Gavin, yes, I think if you look at what Australia did, they probably beat us in our own game. I think Australia don't even think they made 70 passes in the whole game. So they came with a completely different plan to they changed completely what they did in the previous games. The three the three French games, and then the New Zealand games. So yes, I do think we probably got caught up a little bit in that, and we had a good look at that in terms of what our soul is, and I do think we played probably double the amount of rugby that Australia did. And not to say that you don't need to play rugby, but you must play rugby when it's on, when the opportunity is there. And we probably pushed it a little bit when the opportunity wasn't on. When they were set on defense, and when they maybe gave us kick space in behind, we probably got caught up in and forced things in terms of carries. And then when the opportunity was there to run, we probably kicked where we maybe should have done another option. So I do think. I know Australia changed 100%, made a U-turn in terms of what they did in the past versus to what they did against us on the weekend. They almost beat us, as I said, they beat us with their own game.
Thanks, Kevin and Jacques. Right, Ken Boland.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi, Jacques. Hi, Duane. Jacques, just kind of following up from that. One of the things also which maybe linked to that is big ball carries by the Springboks has always been a very big strength of the side, dominating the game line in that. Yet in selection at blindside flank, were you tempted to get another big ball carrier in there? Obviously, Kwagga brings pace, and New Zealand obviously play with great pace as well.
Yeah, I think it's probably weighing up in terms of looking at the balance of your team and looking at, looking at the balance of your loose trios and your if I can say it, your pack. And almost get a balance between ball carriers versus guys that can cover width for you, that can cover distance for you, that can scramble for you. So it's almost having a balance with that. I think if you look at our team currently, I think Bongi can carry well, Malcolm can carry well, Kitsi can carry well, Trevor can carry well, Lood can carry, Eben can carry, Dwayne can carry, Sia can carry, and in a different way, Kwagga carries with his evasion and with his timing of his carries, being a previous sevens player. So I think it's just to try and get the balance right there, that you just don't have too much of the one and less of the other. If that makes sense.
Thank you,
sorry,
Jacques.
Sorry, if I could just also link to that. Just the Jasper Visser situation. You mentioned his hearing only happening tonight. Is there not a time limit for when guys are meant to be cited? And just was that time limit met? And obviously it must be very disruptive to find out so late that a player has been cited.
Ken, he was cited within the specific, within the correct time. So we knew he was cited in the correct time. The issue was that the timeline, normally when the judicial process and timeline comes out, it comes out on a Friday before a test match. So listen, if there's a citing, if the citing commissioner the citing must happen before this time. The team must be notified before this time. If you plead guilty or not, it must happen before this time. And then the hearing must happen before this time. So there's a whole time frame of when what should be met. And so everything happened exactly as according to the time frame as they put out in that process on Friday. Except, like with the Barrett incident, he got his hearing was on the Monday at 5 o'clock, 1700 hours. And our hearing should have been Monday, 1700 hours, so that if the player then gets found not guilty, he's still up for selection for Saturday. But for some other reason, the people who had to sit in the judicial committee or the people, they weren't available at 1700 hours on Monday. So the hearing only happens today. And we've got one training before we play the test match, one training and then a captain's practice. So it just made it impossible. I mean, for us to select Jasper. So I'm not 100% sure why the timelines weren't met. And it was met when there was the same incidents 2 weeks ago against when Australia played against New Zealand. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure Sansa will come back to us on that.
Thank you, Jacques. Right, Kobus Klaasen.
Thanks, Rayon. Hello, Jacques and Dwayne. Jacques, there's been a lot of criticism and negative comment after the poor performance on Saturday. How do you personally handle that pressure from outside, if I can put it that way?
No, yes, I think the pressure from myself and from us as a team is probably more. You know, so yeah, you look at yourself first and foremost. Me as a coach, and when you look at what happened and how we played, and you think where you gone wrong during the week, what you could have done better, and that's how we are as a team. You know, we coaches, players, we all in it together, and we open and honest with each other, and that's what I love about this team. And I said to Dwayne yesterday, he's the guy that I've coached the longest. I coached him since 2006. So we can talk to each other straight up, you know, and that's probably the worst criticism is when it comes from us as peers, and we take it. I mean, we tell each other what we think and where we think we went wrong, and it's tough to swallow. But yeah, for the criticism from outside, firstly, I think when people stop criticizing, that's when you should worry, because the people criticize because they feel something for the team, and I see it in that way. I mean, it's tough. Like I say, the criticism from us is worse. It's when you stop criticizing each other or try and find solutions and put your finger on something that you think is not right. That's when I think something is wrong within the team. But it's not wrong in this team currently. We are willing to talk open and honest about things, and I know us as a team are trying, or we want to do the best for South Africa, and criticism will be there, but my next focus and next job is to make sure that we are as good prepared for the All Blacks. So to be honest, you hear it, and I must say I'm not on social media, so I don't know. But I'm sure there would be criticism, and like I say, you must worry when people stop criticizing, because that means they just don't feel anything for the Boks anymore.
Thank you, Jacques. We'll take one more question, and then we will relieve the two of you and move on to our next set of players for interviews. And Ganiso, over to you for the last question in this section.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen. Jacques, a question for you. If there's one thing that New Zealand haven't been quite tested with, is from a physical perspective. Having watched all the Australia games over the past year, do you feel that is one department where the Springboks, even though it's clear that Kwaga's playing at 7, it is one department where you feel that New Zealand can and will be tested in this coming test?
And if I heard your question correctly, is you feel that they will test us in the physical department, and is that sorry? There was some noise on the outside.
No, I was saying that.
Is that right?
Do you feel that in the physicality department, that is one place where you can actively test New Zealand? Because over the past matches against Australia, it is one department where I think that they haven't been tested as much.
Got you now, 100%. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, I think if you want to get a result against New Zealand, you have to test them in various aspects. Physicality is one. There will be a test of physicality. There will be a test of endurance. There will be a test of skill set. So I think all the departments will be tested, or there will be tests in all of them. But yes, physicality is obviously something that we enjoy as a team. I know with John Plumtree coaching in South Africa, he would know that would be probably one of the areas that we will go to. But I think we will have to test them not only in physicality. We will have to ask questions of them in more than one department.
Thank you.